You know exactly what I'm talking about there, don't you? All right. So we're going to have you talking to yourself, and that's going to be fun. Now we're going to have some fun, too. There was a lady in Dallas, 65 years old, watched one of the exercise videos. She got all motivated. She went home, she told everybody, now, I'm going to start an exercise program. I'm going to start walking. Going to walk 5 miles a day every day the rest of my life, starting today. Well, her family tried to talk her out of it, said, now, you know, that's too much. You don't start with 5 miles, start with 1 mile. Nope, going to walk 5 miles a day every day for the rest of my life. She is now 83 years old, and her family doesn't have a clue as to where she is. Now, we're going to be talking about change. Now, change is stressful, but so is unemployment and bankruptcy. One of the old statements from AA simply says that one definition of insanity is to think you can keep on doing the same thing and somehow or another get different results. Truth is, if you keep on doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep on getting what you've been getting. If you like what you've been getting, that's fine. But if you don't like what you're getting, then, ladies and gentlemen, maybe we need to explore some changes. I want to have you thinking big. Let me share with you what the mission statement. I want you thinking mission statement. You see, our mission statement at the Zig Ziglar Corporation is to be the difference maker in the personal, family, and business lives of enough people to make a positive difference in America and the world. Now, I know that's pretentious, small company, but I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that's our mission. And let me tell you why it's not impossible. Let me share with you why it is possible. Love the story of the grandfather walking the beach with his grandson. And every step or two, the grandfather would reach down and pick up a sand dollar and throw it out to sea. He'd take a couple of more steps, pick up another one and throw it out and another. And finally, the grandson said, "Granddaddy, what are you doing?" And the grandfather said, "Son, these sand dollars are living organisms. If I don't throw them out to sea, they'll die in the hot sun. They've been washed ashore by the tide." And the grandson said, "But Granddaddy, there are thousands of them. What possible difference can it make?" And then the grandfather reached down, picked up another one and threw it out to sea and said, "To this one, it makes all the difference in the world." We're going to be talking about significant things. We're going to explore why is it that immigrants, I'm talking legal immigrants, whether they're from the Orient or South America or Mexico or Africa or the Middle East or Europe or Scandinavia, legal immigrants are 4 times as likely to become millionaires in America as are the people who are born here. It was explained to me in minute detail by a little 4-year-old girl. 3 or 4 years ago, I got aboard an aircraft in Dallas, headed for Norfolk, Virginia. I was the first passenger aboard. I was seated in seat 2C. A mother and their 3 little ones got aboard right behind me. She was carrying the infant, leading the toddler. The 4-year-old was following behind. And the little 4-year-old got aboard, and she looked left into that cockpit and saw those 3 impressive figures with all of the boards. And she saw the electronic gadgetry there, probably more than she had ever seen in her lifetime. When she turned around, those little eyes were as big as the proverbial saucers. I don't know why the child did it, but she put her little hands on her little legs just above her knees, and she bent down and she looked down that long fuselage and said it all with one word: "Gosh." Gosh. That's what immigrants say when they get to America. They've left it all behind them: friends and family and support groups, climate and culture and language and the whole smear. They come into this land without the things that so many of them have. One of our key people at our company, Chris Dunham, got here with $9 in his pocket 10 years ago. But they came with that dream that we're going to be talking about so much more. And the first thing they do when they land in America is they get the daily paper and they look down the jobs that are available. And they would pick up the Dallas paper and say, "There's 291 jobs advertised today, some of them paying over $5 an hour." Now, I know that doesn't doesn't sound like a whole lot of money to you folks, but where I come from, that's 3 days' wages. I'll work not just 8 hours a day, I'll work 12 hours. I'll get my education at a community college. I will live cheaply. I will save my money. I will take advantage of the opportunities that are here. And by the time they find out we got problems, it's too late. They've already made it. It's gosh when they say it. In 1990, the number one selling T-shirt in Japan was "We're number one." The number one selling T-shirt in America was "Underachiever," and proud of it. Too many people born in America get up every morning and say, "Big deal." The immigrant gets up and says, "Wow, what a deal." What a difference it makes. We're going to be looking at why that is so important. They come here with a vision, with a mission. A vision is a clearly articulated, results-oriented picture of a future you intend to create. Let me say it again. I'll not tell you this is easy. It's not. I believe and know, as a matter of fact, that life is tough. But I also know that when you're tough on yourself, that life is going to be infinitely easier on you. In a church in Sussex, England, on the wall, here's what they have. A vision without a task is but a dream. A task without a vision is drudgery. But a vision and a task are the hope of the world. I believe that is absolutely true. Not easy, but it's worth it. All of my life I have thought I was an optimist until I heard about this lady who had moved into a retirement home. On the very first day at lunch, she was seated across the table from a gentleman who was there. And after a moment or two, he became concerned about the fact that she was really eyeballing him. I mean, she was staring a hole through him. He grew uncomfortable, and finally he said, "Ma'am," said, I don't understand. Why are you staring at me?" She said, "I can't believe it." He said, "You can't believe what?" She said, "I can't believe that you look exactly like my third husband. The color of your eyes, your mannerisms, the way you talk, your age, your size. I mean, you look exactly like my third husband." He said, "Third husband?" Said, "How many times have you been married?" She said, "Twice." I want you to know that people can change. I want you to know even animals can change. This past week, the redhead and I were down at our home at Holly Lake, Sugarville. We were out walking our little dog. We have a little Welsh corgi, and his name is Taffy. We were out walking, and we met this other couple, and they had a little dog. Except he was about 3 times as big as our little dog. He's a beautiful dog. I mean, gorgeous fur, healthy looking, and a whole bit. And we got to talking, as dog owners always do, and children owners always do, you know. We got the name of the dog, and it was some stretched out name. I don't know what it was. And I said, "Well, you know, that's such a beautiful dog. It looks so healthy." I said, "What are you feeding that dog?" The man said, "Turnip greens." I said, "I never heard of any feeding a dog turnip greens." I said, "My dog wouldn't eat turnip greens." He said, "Mine wouldn't either the first 3 weeks." Too many times we forget that we're measured far more than just by our intellect. For example, Mike Singletary played linebacker for the Chicago Bears. He was all pro. He was drafted as late as he was because his time in the 40-yard dash was not really that good. Not only that, but he is too short. What they could not measure, though, was just how badly he wanted to be the best at what he was doing. Nor did they know at that point that there was a shorter distance that for linebackers was even more important. And that's the way you got off of the ball. And so when he was playing linebacker there for the Chicago Bears, when a running back would break through the line of scrimmage, the typical linebacker would cut him off about 7 or 8 yards down the field. Singletary started so fast that he caught him many times at the line of scrimmage. He held them to 2-yard gains, where the others were permitting 5, 6, 7, and 8-yard gains. They couldn't measure that. Emmitt Smith, same story. You know, he's not real fast on the 40-yard dash. We see him run down from behind from time to time. But off the ball, that first accelerated moment there, he is really fast. That's the reason he can get through that hole and pick up that yardage time after time. Jerry Rice, same story. All three of these players were drafted later than they would have been because they were just timing the 40-yard dash. Now, what they had not determined at that point was an unusual characteristic Jerry Rice had. And that is, when he was running stride by stride with the defender, and he looked up and saw the ball in the air, he had another gear reserved especially for that occasion. And though they'd been running neck and neck, all of a sudden he put it in that other gear, and he just pulled off and left the guy. Some things you just can't measure. This is what I really want to talk about to you. See, all three of these men had tremendous pride in what they did. Now again, Bible students occasionally say, well, pride is kind of a dirty word. Let me tell you something about words. They change meaning. For example, if I were to look at any one of you and say, why, you're silly, you'd be offended. Unless you knew that the word silly comes from the word selgi, an old English word, which means blessed, happy, healthy, and prosperous. So if anybody ever calls you silly again, you ought to just grin and say, man, you don't know how right you are. You got it right on the button. Now, what's this got to do with pride? The Bible speaks of false pride or vanity.